Hey everybody, Ryan Grant here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over with you guys how to start building muscle this week, and this is a skinny man's guide, right? Just to give you some background on myself, this is my transformation over the past 4 years, so I feel like I can be qualified to give you, a guide on how to start building muscle this week. So I haven't got much more to say. Let's get into today's video. So, I'm going to be going over with you guys 3 pillars, right? So, I'm going to be going over training with you guys, I'm going to be going over diet side, and I'm going to be going over the recovery side, right? And the main approach I'm going to be taking in this guide with you guys is how you need to build things up slowly, right? This whole little guide and the steps I'm about to give you is all about building it up slowly, right? Slowly training yourself up to be able to sustain a normal routine in a long term, right? And slowly acclimatizing not just your body but your minds to be able to stay consistent. Because a huge mistake that beginners make is when they need to start eating a lot of food and when they want to start training hard and build the muscle, right? Obviously, when you start, you get that spike in motivation, right? Obviously, as you start anything new, you just get a spike in motivation, which is fantastic. However, the curse and disguise of that is that it sort of deludes them, right? And it gives them that naive delusion that they can just hop straight into a strict diet, a strict workout routine. It's highly demanding. However, this is not the way to go about things because you will inevitably quit, right? And let me ask you a question. Why on earth would you eat this amount of calories and just go straight into it before you've eaten this amount of calories consistently for a month? Or why would you try and go to the gym 5 times a week before you've even mastered going to the gym 3 times a week consistently for a month, right? It simply doesn't make sense. So you need to slowly build things up. And I know how tempting it is to get straight into it. However, you don't want to be going 1 step forward and 2 steps back, right? So it's super important that I basically just introduce you to how a beginner should start and how you should start doing things this week, right? So now you know all about sort of the theory and my thinking, my way of thinking behind it. Let's get into the training side of things. So this is pillar 1 out of 3, right? And I've got a few bullet points I want to go over with you guys, but the most important one is how you should go about the training. So you may see so many people online training hard, training until they can't do a rep on an exercise, and doing all of this really advanced stuff and training with high intensity, right? As much as you do want to push yourself in the gym and as much as you do want to train hard because that's how you grow, you don't want to do that yet, because the most important thing for you right now is ensuring that you stay consistent, because without being consistent, you simply cannot grow muscle. It is impossible, right? The bridge between you now and you having, and you growing muscle, the first bridge that you need to construct is the consistency, right? And if you don't build this bridge, then you can't, sort of level up, right? So you have to make sure you are consistent first. So don't focus on training hard and intense, and don't focus on lifting the heaviest weight you possibly can, right? Just focus on getting down the gym, testing out the exercises and doing what you enjoy, right? Because that is what is important and that is what is going to help you stay consistent, right? The one of the things that I want you to do on 1 or 2 days, right, is go down to the gym and just try out all the machines, right? Doesn't matter if you look silly, doesn't matter if you look like a buffoon, doesn't matter if it looks like you're not doing it properly, because it's all part of the learning curve and no one is judging you because everyone there has also been there too, right? So they will be able to completely relate to you, and if anything, have utmost respect for you for going to the gym, because it does take fucking courage for someone to go to the gym, right? So one of the things I want you to do in this first week is just find out what exercises you enjoy to do, right? And as I just said, one of the most important things for consistency is enjoyment. So once you've found those exercises, then it should be a lot easier to stay consistent, right? So once you've done that, what I would like you to do is put them into a routine, right? The reason we need a routine and we need a structure around our workouts is because if we're going with the flow, then the chances of us being inconsistent, like literally 10x's, right? it's like if someone's trying to grow a business but they don't have a plan for what they're doing for the day and then they just go with the flow of it, the likelihood of them being counterproductive is going to be very, very high compared to if they actually planned out the day. They would have been a lot more productive, right? So we need a plan. We need to know what we're doing, right? So I've got two different workout splits, workout plans that I would highly recommend if you're a beginner, right? And I would highly recommend you going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week at the absolute max for the first 2 to 3 weeks of you training, right? So the two workout splits in particular, I would recommend you guys do. You can pick. The first one is upper lower. So on day one, you would train all the muscles in your upper body, and on day two, you would train all the muscles in your lower body. And on day two, actually no, not on day two, workout split number two that you could do, the other option is push pull legs, right? So if you don't necessarily know what push pull legs is, it basically just refers to push day, you train your chest, your triceps, and your shoulders. Pull day, you train your back and you train your biceps, and then L legs, you just train your quads, your calves, and your hamstrings as well. These are really simple and really easy to follow splits. It is going to obviously help you stay consistent and get into a routine. And one of the other important things about routine is that it helps you develop that second nature aspect about the gym, right? You want to sort of start to identify yourself as someone who just goes to the gym normally, right? Doesn't even think about it for a second, and you want to think about going to the gym is so normal for you. It's like you don't think twice about brushing your teeth every day, right? Having a routine and having a schedule makes it more of a second nature thing, which is going to help you stay consistent in the long run, right? So they are the two workout programs that you can choose, the two workout splits that I would choose from. So what you want to do is when you get in the gym, you just want to find out what exercises you like and pluck them in with a workout template, right? And then you've basically just formed your workout plan, right? So once you've done that, so by now you've decided what workout plan you want to do. By now you've decided what exercise, you've gone to the gym and you've decided what exercises you enjoy and you've plucked them in to the workout program where it's said to, right? Once you have done that, what I would highly recommend for you now is you need to know your priorities when you get in the gym. So as I said a few minutes ago, so many beginners make the mistake of wanting to get straight into it, training hard and training as heavy as they can and pushing themselves to the limits. However, that is not how you build the foundations, and that is not how you build sustainability in the long term, right? So one of the most important things that you need to focus on, and your sole priority right now, should just be learning the technique of the exercise and getting used to the movement patterns of the exercise, right? How are these exercises performed? How does the muscle feel when I'm performing the exercise, right? Looking for tips and tricks, asking people whether I'm performing this right or not, or just looking at videos online, right? I'm posting training videos online now every week, so if you want to stay around, you can, drop a subscription now, it'd mean a lot. But you just want to get a grip of how exercises are meant to be performed, right? And the reason this is because technique is king, right? The better you can perform exercises, the more progress you're going to make, right? And you don't want to build bad habits now with exercises. So what I mean by that is you perform exercises not in the correct way, which can, if you build those habits for the long term, that can increase the risk of injury and you're not necessarily going to make much progression. So we want to build these good habits now. So your sole priority, your number one priority when you get in the gym for the first few weeks is not to increase the weight, right? Not to train hard or train till failure, right? Or train till you're feeling sick. That's not what I'm asking you to do. The number one priority for you right now is to just get a feel of the exercise, right? Just think about how the muscle's working and just think about that, right? And just learn the form, learn the technique. That is the sole most important thing for you, right? So that is basically the training side of things covered. So I've created a little checklist for you guys, which I'm going to pop up on the screen. So step number one, you basically just want to pick the workout split that you want to do. So either upper, lower, or push-pull legs. I'm going to leave the screenshot of the template on the screen, or I'm just going to leave a Google Doc in the description with both of the templates so you can copy it and stuff. So you want to pick the workout plan, and then the next step, you want to go down to the gym and just test out the exercises and fill in the template with the exercises that you enjoy the most. And then the third thing for the training that is most important is getting your priorities right. So not necessarily lifting like a bodybuilder, so not going intense, not pushing yourself hard, not lifting as much weight as you can, but just focusing on how the exercises are performed, right? So that is phase 1 out of 3 of how you are going to start gaining muscle this week, the training side of things, right? So now I'm swiftly moving on to number 2, so diet, right? And the exact same principles apply. We're not going to be rushing straight into things. We're going to be keeping things slow and steady and slowly acclimatizing not just our body, but our mind to slowly eating more food and slowly making changes as we go. So the first couple of things I want you to do to get into a good routine with diet, right, is start to slowly increase your protein intake, right, and slowly just start to increase the calories as you go. The reason why I say slowly and you're not starting straight away is because your body's not used to that. As I just said, we don't want to be taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. We want to keep taking 1 step forward and progressing up the ladder as we go, right? So slowly just adding a protein shake every day, or slowly adding another egg or another chicken breast to your meal every day, right? You want to start to slowly increase your calories. So what that's basically going to do is help your stomach expand. And I don't mean get fat, because that's not what happens, but you know, your stomach internally expands. Therefore, over time, you can start to consume more food and you can start to hack more food every day. Therefore, when you have to start eating in a surplus, things are going to get a lot easier for you. So in order to start eating more every day, what I would highly recommend to you is go down into the description. I've left a calorie calculator for you, right? What you basically want to do is just follow, just put your details in, you know, your age, your height, your weight, your activity level every week, and then you want to press calculate. And then where it says to maintain weight, or, you know, to stay at the same weight, right? I would highly recommend aiming for that amount of calories, right? Or if you can't necessarily eat that amount yet, go slightly below that and try and get consistent with that first before you go into eating more. So once you've got consistent at eating at maintenance calories, which is basically the amount of calories you need to stay at the same weight every day, then you can slowly start to increase the calories to a calorie surplus. But we don't want to worry about that yet, because we need to build these consistent habits. So the main things that I want you to do is slowly increase your protein intake and just slowly start to increase the calories you eat every day. So as I said, just add an egg to your meal if you're having eggs and toast, right? Or if you're having chicken and pasta, just add another chicken breast, right? And the other thing I want you guys to do as well, in order to help you get into consistent habits, is slowly just start to form a routine around when you eat every day, right? A huge mistake that beginners make is they don't have any structure around when they eat, right? And this can lead to their appetite being all over the place. However, if you start to eat your meals at the same times every day, what is going to happen is your body's going to start to pick up on these patterns. Therefore, as you go, you know, after the first week of you doing this and adjusting, your body is going to start to work in your favor. So it's going to start making you feel hungry when you need to eat meals. Therefore, this is going to help you slowly increase the calories, as you'll be hungry at the right times. You can eat more food. This is going to help you increase your protein intake. Therefore, just build up those habits consistently and increase the quality of them over time, right? So I've got a checklist for the end of this section as well. So as we just discovered and talked about, consistency is the number one thing. So we don't want to be rushing into eating a shit ton of food and stuffing ourselves straight away. That's not necessarily how you should do things anyway. But what you want to do is just slowly start to increase your protein intake. You know, have a protein shake or protein bar, you know, every day. Just add it in, right? Or, not or, I mean, and slowly increase the calories you eat every day, right? That maintenance number that you just discovered through that calorie calculator, that is important. And then the final point of the checklist is just to start building consistent routine with when you eat food, right? So that is now pillar 2 out of 3 covered of how you're going to build muscle. It will start to build muscle in the first week of training, right? Now onto the third and final pillar, so recovery, right? So many people perceive recovery in the complete wrong way, right? Once you have your training and your diet consistent, recovery is then the most important thing that you've got to get on lock. And the reason this is is because when we're in the gym, right, we train our muscles. Therefore, just imagine, right? Just imagine our muscles like a phone battery. At the start of the gym session, we're at 100% charge, right? And then by the end of the session, because we've pushed ourselves and because we've trained our muscles and, fatigued them, we're going to be at, 20%, 15%, 10%. And the warnings from the phone is going to start coming up because we're on low battery, right? AKA our muscles are at 10% battery, right? And what does this mean? When a phone is at low battery, we need to recharge it so we can keep using it. And that's the exact same thing with muscles, right? And it's like if you just keep using your phone and not letting it recover and not letting it charge, then you're eventually going to, your phone's going to die, right? And in terms of muscle growth, that means that you're not necessarily going to grow muscle and you're going to burn out, because recovery is actually when the muscles grow. Just like when, a phone charges, it's like your muscle recharges, right? So when you give your phone charge, it goes back up to 100%, and that's exactly how muscle growth works, right? If you allow your muscles recovery time after they've been trained, i.e., rest days or good sleep, etc., etc., then your muscles are going to get back up to 100%, which means they're going to grow back bigger and better, etc., etc. And that is how muscle growth works. So without recovery, you are sort of stabbing yourself in the foot and you're sort of just self-sabotaging, right? So we need to make sure we are recovering properly. And just to give you a heads up, because you are starting training now, your DOMs, which basically just refer to the muscle soreness that you get after you train, they will be bloody heavy, right? Your muscles probably after the first time you train, everyone's different. However, from personal experience, your muscles are going to be so sore, right? So you just want to be careful. And I'll give you guys an example. So the first time I trained biceps, which was actually the first time I stepped in the gym, I've got a little home gym downstairs in my garage, and all I did was a couple of sets of bicep curls and some abs, some sit-ups, right? And for probably 11, 12 days, I couldn't fully straighten my arm because of how sore my arms were, just from those couple of bicep curls. They weren't intense. It's just because my body was so sensitive to this stimulation because it hasn't trained before, right? And that is exactly what is going to happen, right? As Newton's third law says, every action has an opposite or has an equal or opposite reaction, right? And in this situation, because your body's so sensitive to the training, it's also going to react in an extremely sensitive way. So you're going to be extremely sore, right? And I've got 4 things here that is going to help you optimize your recovery as you go, right? So obviously you want to be having rest days, that's a non-negotiable, but you will anyway because you're going to be starting off going with the gym 2 to 3 times a week, right? But the 4 things that I've listed down which is going to help your body recover is keeping yourself hydrated, keeping, having a high protein intake every day, slowly increasing the protein, ensuring that you have a good sleep so your hormones are balanced, and you're just recovering better. And the last thing is listen to your body, right? If you're meant to train, however, your body's feeling really sore, or for example, if you're meant to train chest, but your chest still feels really sore, listen to your body and rest, right? Your chest still being sore is your body trying to send you a message. It's trying to give you a sign that it needs more recovery time, right? So that is basically training, diet and recovery and how you are going to start building muscle this week, right? And no, I can't remember if I said it at the beginning of the video. However, you aren't going to build muscle this week. You're not going to see muscle this week. But what I mean by this is you're going to start getting into the habits, which is going to help you build muscle and progress as you go, right? So that is the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching and I really appreciate your time. If you do want my help beyond these YouTube videos, I'm currently coaching people for free in my free community, giving them tips and tricks, etc., etc. More specifically, helping skinny men who struggle with weight and muscle gain and helping them do those things in the most efficient way through teaching them the fundamentals. So if you want to check that out, it's going to be the link in the description. However, if you want to stay on the YouTube channel and you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you want to stay around, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, and every Tuesday I'm posting training footage, right? So if you want to stay around, make sure you drop a subscription down there, and I don't want to bore you. Have a good day, take care, see you later.